Hello, 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 everyone. Yay. So excited. We are live streaming and we're recording. So we've got all the buttons pushed. I love it. Now I'll have to find all the buttons on the way out, but it's all good. So good afternoon. I am Mikki Parker and I am the Managing Director for eWomen Network Greater Hartford. And I have with us our member foundation sponsor with us this afternoon. Myself just a little bit, just in case. I am here today with two phenomenal ladies who are our member foundation sponsor for the month of June. And I am super excited to have them here because we have a lunch and learn that they'll be doing today and sharing with you, as you saw on the title, the top 4 mistakes women in business are making and the solutions. So not just what the mistakes are, but how to fix it. So please, ladies, take it away. Gail Petrowski and Dr. Davia Shepherd, take it away.
Thank you for having us,
Thank you
Mikki.
so much, Mikki. Thank you. Thank you so much. So for those of you who do not know me, hi, my name is Shepherd, and I host an amazing women's group, a group of just about 1,000 or so of my business besties, and we call ourselves Ladies Power Lunch. We really, really, really do believe in the eWomen value, which is lifting others as we climb. And so in our little community, what we do is we support each other. It's an amazing community of all sorts of women in business. We're talking about women who might be retired, who are coming back into the setting to share their gifts and talents with the world. We're talking about women who might be solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. They might own small brick and mortar businesses. They might own bigger brick and mortar businesses. They might be in corporate. They might be nonprofit. What holds us together, though, is this amazing desire to support each other. Because the thing that you're struggling with in your business, Mikki or Gail, is probably something that somebody else in our community has already mastered. And she's willing to come and share her gifts and talents so that you don't have to go through all of that. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us to just get together, pool our resources, and an opportunity for everybody to grow. So that's who I am. That's what I do. And my partner, my business bestie, is Gail Petrowski. She has over 40 years of experience working in this women's wellness space and supporting women to help them live their optimal life. Gail, would you be so kind as to share with folks just a little bit about who you are and the amazing, amazing things that you're doing in the world?
Absolutely. As Dr. Davia said, I've been doing work with large groups and small groups of men and women, and now predominantly women, so that they could live their optimal life. I have worked with, I've designed 6 different seminars over the years. I've worked with couples and single relationships, women, men, and truthfully, it's all about taking care of yourself. And I do one-on-one counseling. I'm a master in neuro-linguistic programming, which supports people in getting over some patterns that are intrinsic and stopping them from being all that they can be, as well as the field of study is psychoneuroimmunology. And again, it's really about breaking patterns that we don't want to have anymore. And we want to be able to break free and be the best version of ourselves. So that's really what I do. And I'm also an author. So thank you for that, Dr. Davia and Mikki, for having us on.
So Mikki, what did you say the title of this lunch and learn is?
The top 4 mistakes that women make in business.
Yeah, the top 4 mistakes that women make in business. Okay, so here's the deal. I mean, the title is not the world's best title, but you've probably clicked on it because it pinged something in your mind. I really want to shy away from these clickbait type of titles, Mikki, but the truth is they do get people's attention, and your attention is what we want because this is something that's really, really, really important. I would ask our friends who are watching along with us to raise your hand, drop a comment, drop a yes, drop a like. If you are the person who is right now in this moment living your best life, like in every aspect of your life, you're just living your best life the way you absolutely want it to be. I'm watching along in the comments over here, and Mikki, I want to tell you it's silent. Like we didn't get one, not even one like.
Nope.
No one here, and we have quite a few people who are watching along, but nobody is commenting that they're exactly where they want to be. And the truth is that many of us, I mean, our problems are first world problems, right? Like our business is probably not growing as fast as we might like, or we might not be able to spend as much time as we might like with our families, or something, that is not as much as we might like. And I appreciate that. But the truth is, everybody's issues are their issues, and everybody's problems are real to them. And so, what would be available to you? What would your life be like if you were really living it in the best way that's possible, if you were hitting all the goals that you want to hit, if you had the time freedom that you wanted to have, if you felt like the things that weigh you down, the things that you worry about, the things that you have anxiety around, the things that you get depressed about, if those things were no longer a big challenge for you, what would your life be like? What would change in your life? What would change in your business if you could get rid of your old patterns, if you could re-energize your mind, your body, your spirit? What if you were able to actually do all the self-care things that you know you're supposed to do, but you don't really have the time to do them? What if you were able to spend the kind of time that you want to with your friends, and you felt like you weren't necessarily stuck in any place, whether it's your life or your relationship or your career? What would change if you weren't overtired, overstressed, or overwhelmed in any way? And I'm talking specifically to, we said women in business, right? But the women in business that I'm thinking of are these women who are like me, who they love the work that they do, and everything that they do every day is in support of the people that they serve. And they give so much of themselves that sometimes they kind of leave themselves off their own list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Mikki, I see you nodding. How is this resonating for you? Like, any of the things that I said, did they like ping anything for you
Yeah,
personally?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm in a transitional phase of my life, and even just the moving, right? Like physically moving boxes. I know I haven't been taking care of my physical being the way that I really need to be. And I know that also that there's the emotional and the spiritual being behind that process. And it's just been a very mechanical process at the moment. It's just get the stuff from one place to the other. And, all of the other things are still, very much not enabling me to be able to do my absolute best, my 100%, and to be able to be optimal in my business and my life.
Yeah. And, I feel like you're not alone with that, Mikki. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's something that so many women experience. Gail, I know one time you told me about one of your clients who was a woman in business and she had a similar experience. Would you be okay with sharing that, because you have her permission, with our group today, about just, the changes, that the difference that it can make in your life and your business when you're actually focused on your personal care?
Yeah, there are so many women that have walked through my door. I've been very blessed to interact with them. And the truth is, it's not about, as I spoke to this client of mine, about being perfect. It's not about perfection. No, it's not about that. And if you're, and she was striving for perfection. And so what was happening is she was burning out. And she was a mother of 3, a grandmother of 2, a CEO. And she started to not feel well. So she came to me because she was burnt out. And as I said to her, as I'm saying to every woman out there, we are natural caretakers, most of us, the majority of us. And we want to make sure that the world, everything around us and people that we know are doing okay. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that everyone else is okay. The trouble is that when we lack awareness about ourselves, because we're so other directed, doesn't mean we're not intelligent, we're brilliant. But when we lack that perception of awareness is almost always curative. Then we can step back and say, okay, how can I readjust my way of thinking so I have a different perspective on how I can show up in the world with compassionate boundaries for myself, not always for other people. And be able to, as she had to learn how to do, she had to step back and learn how to say, no, this doesn't work for me right now. However, I can relook at this and then get back to you. So she was able to take herself and her well-being and health and revitalize and re-energize herself with more balance and alignment, instead of always saying yes to everyone else. So this client of mine actually had an autoimmune disease, which I could relate to because that happened to me. I burnt out by overdoing for everyone else, because we're natural supporters and collaborators. And we need to take some time to step back, which she did, and reassess where she was going. And then she was able to have success on most of the areas in her life that she wanted, including her health and well-being. So I think it's just a matter of changing the dial a little bit, bringing it back to focus, because sometimes we get out of focus because it's so important for us that everything and everyone is doing okay. And it's time for us to also take that downtime for ourselves to be able to balance. So it's changing what you're saying to yourself. It's reframing your thoughts because your thoughts are everything, and they're going to communicate to your body what's going on for you right now. And we can throw ourselves off. Does that answer the question?
It sure does. I
Yeah.
feel like both you and Mikki really hit the nail on the head, Gail. And that's the reason why, even though the title of this little workshop is kind of crazy, there are really 4 areas that, as women in business, if we stay focused on those 4 areas, we can really, really make a change, not just in, the rest of our lives, but also in our business. Because when we are approaching our business, when we're at 100%, when we're approaching our businesses, when we are lit up, then can you imagine the amazing strides that we'll be able to make, the people that we'll be able to connect with, the change that our businesses will be able to make in the world?
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. It really, really is. So there's a value to doing that work on the self because it makes a difference. So the 4 mistakes that everybody's making, let's dive a little bit into that. We have a book called Live Your Optimal Life, and it really, really focuses on 4 principles. We call them balance, boundaries, beauty, and brilliance. We like to use the B's, alliteration. It helps people remember them better. But when we talk about balance, the number one thing that I think as women in business we're missing out on, we're not just talking about, oh, we want to be in work-life balance, or we want to make sure we take care of our self-care. Yes, that is a part of it, but balance really has to do with every single thing, Gail and Mikki, every single thing that has to do with our relationship with ourselves.
Mhm.
So how are we doing with our relationship with ourselves? So that's thing 1 of the 4 B's. Thing 2 is boundaries. And we talk a lot with Live Your Optimal Life about women in business having compassionate boundaries. Mikki, Gail, have you ever been in a situation where somebody asks you to do something and it's either not in your wheelhouse, not something that you're particularly good at, not something you want to do, but your desire to help is so overwhelming that you said yes when you really should not have?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So often our boundaries are off. Our boundaries are all over the place. And what would happen if we're able to, in a very compassionate and loving way, say yes to ourselves, and say no to the things that are not right for us? One of our dear friends loves to say no more often so you can say yes more fully. And I think somebody should put that on a t-shirt because that's an amazing thing. Another one of our Ladies Power Lunch friends likes to say that no is a complete sentence and no thank you is a perfect sentence. And I'm like, oh my goodness, why is nobody making t-shirts from these things? Like, these things are so amazing. I would buy those t-shirts. So there's the balance, there's the boundaries. And I think that for us as women in business, that's the foundation. If we are not solid in our relationship with ourselves, and we're not solid with our relationship with others, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about the boundaries, then it's going to spill over into our businesses, and we're not going to be as productive, as brilliant as we can be. And that leads me into the next level. I like to call it the quantum level of living our optimal life. Once we've gotten those boundaries and we have that balance in place, then we need to start thinking about, what does our life look like? Are we, and I'm going to just raise my hand, and if this sounds like you, I want you to type yes in the chat. Are we on a hamster wheel? Are we every day going through the motions, doing the same things, chasing whatever it is that we're chasing? Like, what does our life look like? Are we doing that, or are we every day being able to embrace the beauty that our life could be? Are we able to find appreciation and joy in even the smallest pieces of our lives? And I know theoretically we know that we should be doing that, right? But are we though? Are we really? And are we doing the things that we need to do to make sure that we are feeling that joy and we are living our optimal life in that way? And then the 4th B, which again, it just feels like it's the top of that pyramid of B's, is brilliance. And when I talk about brilliance, in the Live Our Optimal Life pyramid, when we talk about brilliance, brilliance is that thing that you do, that thing that's your special sauce, the thing that lights you up, the thing that gets you out of bed on a Monday morning when you just want to drag the covers over your head and it's snowing outside, but you say, no, I'm getting up, I'm going to go work with whomever it is that I work with. Are you shining as brightly as you can? Are you answering the call? Are you being the beacon? Are you really fully embodying that work that you've been put here on earth to do? So those are the 4 areas that I truly believe that if women in business are hitting each of those, they're focused on life balance, they're focused on compassionate boundaries, they're able to embrace the beauty of their lives, and they're able to shine brightly in their businesses, then I don't know. I feel like they're living their optimal lives. What do you think, Mikki? What do you think, Gail?
Go
I
ahead, Mikki.
I totally agree with that. There are so many things in our lives that can deter us from those areas. I made the comment, I'm running a marathon on the hamster wheel, and it just right, right. I've been training for this marathon, and the marathon's almost over, right? And I know that, like, I've been able to recognize that.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, Mikki. And I mean, Gail, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
Well, I agree with you. Obviously, if you know, I use the example of my client, but this could be any woman out there.
Mhm.
We have to step back at a certain point in time and take a breath and be able to look at your relationship, as Davia said, with yourself. How do you feel about yourself? You know, are there areas where you need to do some inner work?
Mhm.
You know, because it's not just showing up and being successful out there. You would be even more successful if your light was shining brighter. It's like lighting the candle first for yourself and then lighting someone else's candle. So you're making a difference out there. But if you're really, truly who you really living your life in a more balanced way, can't be 100%, but a more balanced way with awareness, then you're making a difference with your clients or people that you're touching or working with even more than you were before. And you may not be aware of that, but whatever energy you have, you're bringing to the party when you're doing your business. It's there. Someone can feel it. It's palpable. They can feel it spiritually if they're sensitive or emotionally. And they're either going to feel safe with you or they're going to just yes you, and you're going to get by. But will you truly make a difference? Because if you make a difference for you, you're going to make a difference for someone else. But it's got to start here.
I love that. And I'm a practical person. A lot of people know that. I mean, I am driven by double-blinded placebo-controlled trials. So yeah, we could sit here and talk about all of this all day long, but I want to give the folks who are showing up for this an opportunity to see the sort of thing that we do on retreat by just hitting one of those B's. Let's talk life balance a little bit. So at the end, I'm going to invite y'all to come join us on our upcoming retreat, which is going to be in the Bahamas, October 21st. And you can get more information about that at growsmarternotharder.com/retreat. I just want to give you an opportunity to experience a little bit of what it would feel like if you're living life balance. And like I said, when I talk about life balance, yes, it includes self-care, but that's just a little piece of it because life balance really is everything that has to do with you and your relationship with yourself. So I want to invite you. Let's take a minute to tune in. I'm going to invite you, if you feel comfortable doing this, if you're driving, don't do this, but if you feel comfortable and you're in a safe space to do this, I invite you to go ahead and just close your eyes for a second. And we're going to take a deep breath in and hold that breath. And now exhale. One more time, take another deep breath in and hold the breath. And exhale all the way out. We're going to do just one more breath together. Deep breath in, hold that breath, and exhale. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine. Let's let your imagination just expand. And imagine that you are stepping out through a portal into a beautiful, beautiful environment. I want it to be the environment that you love. If you're a beach person, maybe it's a beach. If you love the mountains, maybe you're stepping onto a path in the mountains. If you're the kind of person who likes the tranquility of a lake, maybe you're sitting beside a lake as you step through your portal. And I want you to imagine yourself in this beautiful, amazing place. And just take a moment to notice, what does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What does the air feel like touching your body? What's around you? I want you to look down the path a little ways, and I want you to notice that there's somebody walking towards you. She looks really beautiful. She looks amazing. She looks like the kind of person that you would love to have as your best friend. She's walking towards you, and she has just the most brilliant smile on her face. You can't really make out her features yet, but I want to invite you. Go ahead and walk towards her. Maybe meet her halfway. And there's a bench on the path. And feel free to just sit down and wait, and she's going to join you in just a moment. Because when you look up at her and recognize her face, she is you. But you in the future you who is living her optimal life. She has achieved a level of life balance that she never thought possible. She has this relationship with herself that is so beautiful and secure that you can see it shining on her face. It's amazing. And she reaches out and she gives you this amazing hug. Her job here today is to reassure you, to let you know that no matter where you are today in your life, that she is in the future ready to be the best version of you, you 2.0. And she has something in her hands and she's offering it to you. It's a box. And I want you to just take a moment to observe the box. What does it look like? You get to make it whatever you would like it to be. Is it a plain box? Is it ornate? What makes it up? What kind of box is it? And go ahead and open the box, because inside the box, she's written you a beautiful note. It's a note that shares her secrets from the future about how you will get to be her, how you will get to have that amazing relationship with yourself, how you will be able to be that woman in balance. She has notes there for you about self-love, going into great detail about self-esteem and worthiness. Just take a look at what she's written there for you. She talks a little bit about your self-care and what you really need to be doing right now. She talks about your health and wellness, your self-nurturing, your personal care and attending, your self-appreciation, your recognition of yourself, your self-discovery. Who are you? What do you like? What is fun for you? She has it all written down there. She has notes there about your self-actualization, things that you need to complete in order to achieve your full potential. And she has notes there about forgiving yourself and accepting yourself exactly as you are. Just take a moment to take in all the notes that she has for you. And then give her a big hug. You can close your box, give it back to her because you've taken all of that in. And she waves bye to you. And I invite you to walk back up to your portal, step back through your portal, and arrive again back here in the room with all of us. We're just going to take a deep breath in and hold the breath. Exhale all the way out. Deep breath in and exhale. And one last breath as we arrive together. And as you exhale, feel free to open your eyes. And guess what? You're back in the present with a present. You're back here with a little bit of insight from future you about the amazingness that is waiting for you when you step into being that woman who lives with life balance. If you are watching this on the replay, this is a great time to hit the pause button and just do some journaling around what showed up in your box. Write a little bit about what your environment looked like. Write a little bit about what that means for you. Take some notes about what your future you had to say about your self-love and your self-care, your health, your nurturing, your wellness, your self-appreciation, your self-discovery, your actualization, and of course, your self-acceptance. Take a moment to make some notes about what was showing up for you in those categories. And then my homework for you is to go back and look at each of those notes that you have made and actually see how you can integrate in your life. Now, of course, if we were on retreat together, there's a lot that we would do together to make this an actionable activity and give you things that you can do on a daily basis into your life. But since we're not on retreat, then obviously do go to growsmarternotharder.com/retreat, find out about when our next retreat's going to be, and definitely come join us. Mikki, did anything show up for you? Anything in particular that was interesting about your little journey back to you, or forward to you, I should say?
One of the things that I was reading on my note for myself, my future self, is that I'm actually almost there. Like I'm closer than I think I am.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
want to say to everyone, we are all really probably a step or two away from what we consider to be optimal. But sometimes taking that next step requires a little bit of support. What did you find showing up for you, Gail? Anything?
I always do when I do a self-reflection like this and meditation, which was beautiful. You know, the truth is that I looked at my life and saw all the changes that are happening, because change is a constant that we need to deal with. But the other part of it was being true to myself, finding that place of joy within, and being unapologetically, authentically me, and embracing my own self-love. So for me, I think that was key for me during this, to be able to go through changes that are going to happen, because that's part of life. But when you are authentically you, and you're really looking at yourself with greater self-love, because what I got from the box was a crystal heart, which had different light prisms going through, and the brilliance of that. I think that's key for me, to as I go through changes. Yes.
I love that. And I want to say to our friends who are watching that every single time that I do this exercise, I find something in it for me as well, because I am always, and I feel that you are always also a work in progress. There's always going to be, there's no, okay, I have now achieved all the balance, boundaries, brilliance, and beauty that there is in the world, and I now retire. That never happens. There's always more. There's
Yep.
always more growth to have. There's always something more. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story, because I feel that in sharing that, y'all will understand why this is so important to me. Why I really, really do believe that as women in business, we need to really work on those four things, that balance, those boundaries, the beauty and the brilliance in our lives, because when we don't, what happens is not great. So I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes version of this story. I've told it so many times, so many of you might already know it. And if you do, just sing along. I had a crisis of conscience. I left corporate and came into private practice. My timing was atrocious, because I chose the economic downturn that we were in the 2010s-ish to be the time when I came into private practice. Also, I was joining a new practice. We were in an economic downturn, and I just had a baby. So, oh, and we just moved, right? So it's so many things are going on. And I was determined to make our practice a success, even though we were losing a lot of patients because of the economic downturn. So I was networking in the morning, the noontime, the evening. I was doing all the things, but I was expecting, I think, a little bit too much of my body. And so I wasn't losing my baby weight. So what do you think I did, Mikki? You know what I did, because I told you. I went and I started training for the Hartford Marathon. After I ran the Hartford Marathon, let me just tell you, folks, I got so ill. And 6 doctors later, we really couldn't figure out what was going on with me. When I went to doctor number 7, I was informed that, guess what, friend? You have put yourself into an autoimmune crisis. And so your body is actually attacking your body. Now, for most people will not get to this extreme. But many people experience effects to their health that are not great. Vague malaise, or they might get sick more easily than they used to, or they are putting on weight and it can't get rid of it, or insert what's happening with your health and wellness here. But for many people, when we burn the candle at both ends, taking care of family, taking care of business, taking care of everybody else, and not taking care of ourselves, we put our bodies at risk, and it can show up in an extreme way, which is what happened to me. But fortunately for me, I had an opportunity for transformation, because I realized that I had to change something. I couldn't continue living the way I was. And one of the beautiful things that happened, in addition to changing aspects of my life, introducing, things like meditation and yoga and things like that, I also went on retreat. And let me tell you, that was a big turning point for me. There's a lot you can do by yourself, but sometimes when you have a trusted facilitator and a room of people who are like-minded that are there for you, it can make all the difference. And so my victory is that I'm not going to say today that I'm the poster child for self-care, but what I will tell you is that the me that was 2010 is a different me today, because every day I am at least asking the questions. I'm at least making the effort to put myself on my own list. And I see the results with myself, with my health. I haven't had any flare-ups of my autoimmune condition in quite a while. It's knock all the wood that we can to keep it that way. But it was worth it. It was definitely worth it for me, because I see the results in my business. I see the results in my health. I see the results in my life. So I'm here as a testament to what is possible when you take care of you. And So that's why we're here today talking to women in business. What about you, Gail? I know you've been through something similar too.
Yeah, I was part of a international corporation, a seminar program, and one of the directors. And I absolutely burnt out. I was caretaking for my mom, my dad. I had young children, and the business was thriving. We had a group of 2,000 that went through the programs that I led. And then I had private practice, which was booming. And what happened is I was like the energy bunny. I just thought the batteries weren't going to burn out. And I started to feel malaise and, not the energy that I had. I found that, as patient as I am, I wasn't patient. And so that was an immediate, heads up, there's something going on here. And I went and got blood work done because I knew something was off. And I was like the one that did it all. I mean, I had a team of people, but I made sure that I was the one they could count on. Everybody could count on me. And I really got very clear when they diagnosed me with an autoimmune disease that it was time for me to ask for help. So for me, one of the big lessons for me was to ask for support of other people. So it wasn't just allowing my team to be, it was asking for more teams around that team and to let them know clearly, vulnerably, what I was going through, because I was also didn't want a negativity coming at me. I didn't want any negative response coming at me. That's not cool, especially with a business that was thriving like mine. But it turned out that the honesty and the vulnerability of this is where I am, this is where I choose to go. So it was part of my goal to heal and to transcend what I was doing and change up with compassionate boundaries for myself that made a difference. And I have not had, thank you, God, I have not had a problem with my immune system in 25, 30 years. So, and I'm sensitive. So if your body is sensitive, you're going to get the cues. So I led retreats. So for me, I needed to go on other people's retreats. It was important for me to be guided, let myself stop being the leader, stop being the one that was the strong one, and allow myself to just be in someone else's retreat. And that made a huge difference. And I didn't just do one, I did many, which supported me and supported my group.
I love that you said that, Gail, because I think sometimes for those of us who might be healers, leaders, coaches, teachers, speakers, the ones who are supporting everybody else and doing hashtag all the things. Also, my son says, Mom, stop saying hashtag. So let's not ever do that again. I can't promise. Uh, the ones who are doing all the things, sometimes we might be a little resistant to being supported, or we might feel like we don't need to be supported, or we might feel like we don't have the time to be supported. And I'm here to say that people who are supporting others need to do their own work on their balance, their boundaries, their beauty, and their brilliance more than anyone else, because they're the ones who much is being asked of. They're the ones who are being required to light other people up. You've heard them say, put your mask on first when you're on the airplane before you try to put somebody else's mask on, or else you're going to pass out and nobody gets helped. You've heard you can't pour from an empty cup. You've also heard if you pour from a half-filled cup, there's nothing left for you. All these things that we've heard. And as the healers, the leaders, the teachers, the coaches, the speakers, the ones who are supporting everybody else, it's so much more important, because when you're lit up, then you can light up the people who are around you and they can light up their folks, and on it goes until we're doing the thing that we're supposed to do. We're making the world a better place. So based on that, the work of focusing on balance, taking care of making sure that our boundaries are compassionate, that we're seeing the beauty of our lives, and that we're having a very brilliant business. Who do you think benefits the most from that? Any ideas, Gail or Mikki?
I would say ourselves and our personal relationships, the people that are the closest to us, because they see us and they feel us. And the vibrancy that transpires when you're doing that kind of work for yourself is more love and self-love and other love. So it flows.
And who do you think needs to do this work?
Me, I think everyone. I think everyone, because when I talk to people and they say to me, I don't need that, I look at them and I say, okay, you may not need it, but if you chose to have it in your life, the opportunity of growth, not just for yourself, but for everyone that's close to you and your business is amazing, just amazing.
I agree with that. Mikki, any ideas of any kinds of people you think who would benefit from doing this kind of work on their balance, their boundaries, their beauty, their brilliance?
I think you hit the nail on the head when you were listing, especially leaders and those who pour into others.
Yep.
I feel like that is that group that, again, the the plumber's house is always leaky, right? Like the people who are the ones pouring into the ones that are probably the most depleted.
Yeah. So we ask people who are caretakers to take care of themselves, because one of the things I see a lot here in practice with patients is patients coming in with pain. I treat patients who have pain, patients coming in with pain who are taking care of others. And a lot of the time that pain is related to them not taking care of themselves because they're so deeply invested in the other care. People who are, their business is focused on the well-being of others. I feel like those people kind of sometimes leave themselves behind. Like I said before, the healers, the leaders, the coaches, the consultants, the teachers, anybody who's ever forgotten what's fun. And I'll tell you a funny joke. It's not funny at all. I was on a interview. Somebody was interviewing me on their show. And for those of you who know me well, you know, I am never at a loss for words. Like you put a mic in front of most people, they run in the opposite direction. I run towards the microphone. And the interviewer asked me, so what do you like to do for fun? And it took me a minute. I was literally stumped for words because I, in that moment, had been so focused on, it was during the school year. So taking care of kids, and there were things that needed to be submitted, and taking care of things in the practice and doing this thing. And fun, what is it that I like to do for fun again? Oh yes, this thing. I like listening to music, going for long walks on the beach, whatever. I had forgotten what in that moment, what was fun. So if you ever feel like you're the kind of person who might forget that in a moment, then you need to really rethink what you are focused on when it comes to your balance, boundaries, beauty, and brilliance. And just know you're not alone, folks, because I'm there. Gail is there, Mikki is there, but the good thing is that we're all here supporting each other. And there was a woman who was recently on one of our retreats. She came on our spring retreat and she posted in our little group chat that, oh my goodness, thank you so much for this retreat, because I've come back and I've already lost pounds. I've already grown in my business. I actually got more clients. Like all of this is happening and I'm not even sure exactly what the steps were, but it just seems like focusing on me is what made all the difference. Can you believe that, Gail?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You don't look surprised.
No, not at all. When people have, some of the testimonials that came out of the retreats that I did, where women said that honest to God, they looked younger. Some of my assistants would say, these women look younger. And I would say, okay, don't put that in a testimonial. But what's true? They looked brighter. They felt better. And they were able to have more energy. Yeah. And that makes a huge difference when you can unload what is heavy on your shoulders. And sometimes we don't even know what we're carrying.
The problem, though, is that a lot of people who might be watching along with us, they agree with everything that we're talking about. They get it, but they're gonna probably not do anything differently. And that's a shame. You know, my favorite quote from Albert Einstein is when he says something about insanity being doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes. You know that quote, right?
Yep.
And I invite folks to, yes, definitely come on retreat with us, growsmarternotharder.com/retreat. But also, whether you do that or not is irrelevant. Like, do not stay stuck in your old patterns. Do not stay on the bus to burnout, because I've been there, folks. It's not the destination you think you want to go to. I've been there 2 surgeries later and 6 doctors later, and still not knowing what's going on in my body is not fun. Not at all. And I'm sure Gail can tell you her stories as well. Don't keep putting yourself last. Don't just do nothing. Don't just keep staying on that hamster wheel of life. Don't continue to live less optimally than you can. That would be my advice. What do you think, Gail?
No, I agree. I would also add, you know, I'm 75 years old, and I think of myself as 75 years young
That's
because
right.
I don't have that mindset of age. I'm not going to say that I don't get it. I get it. But the point is your mindset and your attitude is everything. And when you have a opportunity, and I'm looking back as Davia is speaking, and there were many times I had an opportunity to grow or to take time out or do something fun or be kind to myself. And I went, you know, I don't need it. No, I'll do it later. I'll do it another time. And what I now know, because of the time frame of life, because nobody knows, is when that opportunity is there and it presents itself, for you not to open up that gift and the wrapping that's around it for yourself. That I don't want to, I don't, that is a missed opportunity of for yourself. And that is going to add years emotionally, physically, spiritually, cognitively to your life. So that's what I really have to say. Don't miss an opportunity by saying this, you know, this is not the right time for me, or I don't need it. Relook at yourself. Look in the mirror. Look at the reflection that's looking back at you. Have a one-on-one with your husband or your intimate other or your children, and make them feel safe in a family powwow, and ask them, you know, what are you seeing with me? You know, ask the question, because sometimes we don't see it ourselves. But when that opportunity comes, my suggestion is go for it. Where's your hat, as someone once said?
Where's
Give
your
me the
hat?
hat and I'm there. And from now on, I can tell you, I'm going to get my hat and I'm there.
Thank you so much, Gail. So, Mikki, do you feel as though the folks who are watching along with us got some good tips for transforming their balance, boundaries, beauty, and brilliance today? Do you feel like we fulfilled on the promise of the top 4 things women in business need to, whatever it was? Do you feel like we hit the point?
Yes. I think it's amazing that you were able to frame it in the aspect of not the negative of these are some areas of our lives that can help us to be in a more optimal space and be more satisfied and gratified with our lives. And it intertwined some of the solutions right into that conversation, which was fantastic.
I know we just have maybe less than 5 minutes left, but I want to give folks the opportunity, just tell folks a little bit about a retreat that we do have coming up and invite them officially to come join us. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So if you want to hear nothing about retreat, you could just tune out now, but I would invite you to stay for just a few more minutes, and I want to tell you a little bit about the details of our upcoming retreat. So our upcoming retreat is going to be a cruise destination retreat. We are going to the Bahamas. We're going to Bimini, and we're going on Celebrity Cruise Lines, which is a premium cruise line, which allows for a more relaxing and intimate experience as we go on retreat together. We're very focused on this theme of live your optimal life. And so we're going to spend our time focusing on the life balance, the compassionate boundaries, the beauty of our lives, and of course, the brilliance of our business. We have some sessions before we get together on retreat, and we have some integration sessions after retreat. But we go on a 4-night fun, rejuvenating, transformational destination cruise retreat. There are opportunities to relax, reset, unplug. We have daily activities that we can do together. There's time for you to do things on your own. There are tons of bonuses. And as far as the Celebrity Cruise Line goes, we have taken things up a notch. So we're going to be having the aqua class level of accommodations. What that means for you is that we're at the spa level. And so the access to the thermal suite, the saunas, the crystallarium, the salt room, the spa concierge, the specialty restaurant that's focused on healthy eating, all of those things are a part of your retreat package. And, you know, we leave on October 21st, we leave out of Fort Lauderdale, and we have a wonderful time together while we transform our lives. And then we come back and we integrate all of that into our lives. More information, of course, is available at our website, growsmarter.com/retreat. But I want you to not just focus in on the features of, you know, all the fun things that we're going to do, but I want you to think of the benefits too, because what we know is that when people come back from this retreat, they're in a different place. and the sorts of things that they're able to do in their businesses, leaps and bounds compared to what they were able to do before. So if they were doing okay before, they're going to be amazing. If they were doing not so great, maybe they'll get up to okay. It's just what you want and what's available to you. But I would invite folks to not wait to reserve their spot, because we do have a couple of discounts that are going on right now. Right now, we're still in that early bird phase. And so you'll save at least $1,000 by reserving your space now. Thing two, accommodations are limited. Look, there are only a certain number of spots on the cruise ship in that category. I mean, it is pretty limited. So you want to take advantage of that now. And we have a limited time reduced deposit, which is basically $300 down. So it's very, very accessible to folks. So I want to invite people to hop on over to our website, growsmarter.com/retreat, and get all the information. If there's something I missed, there's something that I didn't cover, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I'm very accessible that way, or call us in office at 860-589-1491, and Sandy will be sure to route your message on to me. Whatever you do, keep yourself on your own list. Any last words, Gail and Mikki?
Schedule, as you said, keep yourself on your own list. Schedule yourself in as often as you can in your appointment book.
I like that. I like that. I would say look for white space on your calendar, and make that you time.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
everyone. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, ladies. I am so appreciative of you sharing all of that today with our community on our Lunch and Learn. And keep your eyes peeled. There's still more coming from Dr. Davia as our monthly sponsor. I know it's so exciting. Every time I get an email from you, I'm like, oh, yay. And I read it all. So I'm learning too. I love it. You know, the school's never out. Well, and thank you, ladies, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mikki. Thanks, everybody, for watching along, and I'll see y'all in the next show. Bye.